Hello friends, welcome to UGC EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Mirza Alim Beg, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today we will discuss about mapping the principal components. The core learning objective of this session is to understand the method of construction of a composite index. In an exercise of a principal component analysis, basic objective is to summarize a large set of data through smaller number of dimensions in such a way that the larger proportion of reality portrayed by all the variable is retained by a smaller number of principal components. This exercise helps the researcher in handling a large body of data and in measuring a phenomena for which no direct information is available. Scores of the principal components can be mapped also to portray that phenomena. The exercise starts with a large body of data relevant to the desired phenomena collected by researcher directly or indirectly through some secondary or primary sources. After analyzing the data through its descriptive statistics like mean and standard deviations for further mathematical treatment, the data is first converted into a set of Z scores of n variables. Z scores are free from units of measurements as they are only ratios. Z scores are also standardized scores as they all have 0 means and unit standard deviations. After converting the data into their Z scores, the scores are converted into weighted composite scores of different principal components. These weights are obtained from the eigenvectors of different eigenvalues of the correlation matrix of all the variables. The length of these eigenvectors is found to be normalized to inverse of their eigenvalues. For first principal component, the weights used are the elements of the eigenvector corresponding to the highest eigenvalue. For the second principal component, the weights are the elements of the eigenvector corresponding to the second highest eigenvalue, and so on. After Z scores, an n by n correlation matrix is worked out, giving intercorrelations between all the pairs of variables. From this correlation matrix, its eigenvalues are worked out with their corresponding eigenvectors, and only those are retained whose eigenvalue is greater than 1. Eigenvalues are then arranged in descending order. The length of these eigenvectors are then easily normalized to inverse of their eigenvalues, and the elements of these values are used as weight to prepare weighted combination of Z scores. To explain the above mentioned steps, Let us take an example of summarizing a set of data of 5 variables of development of 10 districts, an area as given below, listed in table 1 with the help of principal component analysis. The variables are percentage of workers in secondary sector denoted as x1, rate of population growth denoted by x2, literacy denoted by x3, population density denoted by x4, percentage urban denoted by x5. Now, the above set of data can be subjected to a principal component analysis using the SPSS. The SPSS package has several options for the output. All of them may not be required for the first understanding of the method. Most essential of them could be the descriptive statistics, correlation matrix, its eigenvalues and associated eigenvectors, component coefficient matrix, component score coefficient matrix and factor scores. All these outputs are explained in detail and are given in table. First, output will give the descriptive statistics in form of variables, their mean values and standard deviations with number of observations as given below in table 2. Second output relates to the correlation matrix between all the pairs of variables. It will be a 5 by 5 symmetric matrix with unity in the diagonal, and off diagonal elements will give correlation coefficients between different variables. The output of correlation matrix is given in table 3. The next step in this exercise of principal component analysis is to find out eigenvalues. The package computes the eigenvalues and put them in descending order as given here: 3.697, 1.092, 0.127, 0.083 and 0.001. Note that the sum of all these eigenvalues is 5.00. To verify the property that the sum of eigenvalues of a matrix is equal to the sum of their diagonal values, which is 5 in the present case. Also to note is that these values are given in descending order, and first eigenvalue, which is also the variance explained by first principal component, comprise 3.697 divided by 5 into 100, which is equal to 73.93% of the total variance. The second eigenvalue is 1.092 and comprises 1.092 divided by 5 into 100, which is equal to 21.83% of the total variance. Cumulative effect of first and second principal component is to explain 95.76% of the total variance in the variables, which is quite high and may be considered sufficient to summarize the 5 original variables. Further components do not add much to it and may be considered as redundant. The program has a default command to discard all the eigenvalues less than 1. Do this command in the next table, only 2 eigenvalues greater than 1 are given along with their proportional strength. Researchers are given the option to change the default value as per their choice listed in table 4. Extraction method of principal component analysis. Once we have extracted 2 eigenvalues, program also gives the eigenvectors whose length has been normalized to its eigenvalue. The sum of the squared values of its all the elements will be equal to 3.697 and 1.092 respectively. The values under each column are also known as factor loadings and are coefficients of correlations of each variable with first and second principal components. The component matrix given above gives the coefficient of correlation of all the 5 variables with first and second principal components. These values are also known as factor loadings in the literature on principal component and help in making a sense out of these linear combinations of the constituent variables. The first principal component is found to have a higher positive correlation with percentage of workers in secondary sector, that is x 1, rate of population growth, that is x 2, population density, that is x 3, and percentage of urban population, that is x 5. It has shown lower positive correlation with literacy, that is x 3 variable. This pattern of relationship can be named as industrial development, as it shows crowding, lower literacy, migration and expansion of industrial activities, but not much of literacy. Second principal component shows higher positive relationship with literacy, that is x 3, and negative relationship with population density x 4 and urbanization x 5. The pattern of this relationship appears to be just opposite to crowding and industrialization and going with literacy. Such a pattern of relationship may be called as social development. Z scores, our principal component scores, are also normalized to unit standard deviation, and this is possible when the length of the eigenvector giving the weights is normalized to inverse of the corresponding eigenvalue lambda. The next output of the exercise will be component score coefficient matrix giving the values of the elements of the above eigenvectors after normalizing its length to 1 by lambda as given in the table 6. So, the component score coefficient matrix is given in table 6 and the extraction method here is principal component analysis. So, one can verify that sum of the squared values of the first column is 0.271, which is inverse of the first eigenvalue of 3.697. Similarly, the sum of the values of the second column is 0.916, which is also the inverse of the second highest eigenvalue of 1.092. After getting the weights for making scores of two principal components, we are ready to work out component scores. First, we convert the given data of 5 variables into their Z scores as mentioned above. The Z scores of the variables given in our exercise are given in table 7. These Z values can be converted into principal component scores as their linear combination using the weights given in the component score matrix above. For first area, for example, the score of the first principal component will be minus 1.29708 into 0.268 plus minus 0.78812 minus 1.29708 into 0.268 plus of minus 0.78812 into 0.259 plus of minus 0.52921 into 0.094 plus minus of 0.46269 into 0.234 plus of minus 1.51878 into 0.257, which is equal to minus 1.1018. Using same weights for the Z values for second area, we can work out the scores of first principal component for the second area. Likewise, we can work out the component scores for all the 10 areas or observations which are given in table 8. Component scores for the second principal component can also be worked out using their weights given in the second column of the component score matrix. For example, for the first area, the score will be minus 1.29708 into 0.047 plus of minus 0.78812 into 0.143 plus of minus 0.52921 into 0.851 plus of minus 0.46269 into minus 0.383 plus of minus 1.51878 into minus 0.151, which is equal to minus of 0.21679. The scores of first and second principal components are presented in table 8. These factor scores of first principal component and the second principal component give the relative position of each area in terms of created dimension of industrial development and social development. It is interesting to note that the position of areas cannot be similar on both the dimensions. For example, area number 2 is low in first principal component, that is minus of 1.11353, but its position on second principal component is quite high. Similarly, the areas number 8 and 9 are quite high in first principal component and second principal component. Similarly, the areas number 8 and 9 are quite high in first principal component, but low in second principal component. Now, let us move on to mapping of principal component. To show special variations in the principal component scores, we can map these scores also. Before mapping these scores, one should note that these scores also have zero means and unit standard deviations like Z scores. Half of the scores therefore are positive and rest are negative. Easiest way therefore is to divide the scores into two sets of positive values and negative values and may be called as high and low. This can be further divided into two equal parts by their median values. Thus, we can have 4 categories which may be called very low, low, high and very high. We can also use any alternative method of classifying the scores into categories and make maps like choropleth map or any other type. Thank you for listening.